Now at 10, rallying against gun violence. The organization March for Our Lives Utah on the steps of our state capitol today. What those protesting want to see from our leaders. Plus,
what jumps out to me is that it's very shallow.
The Utah Avalanche Center releasing a full report on the fatal avalanche in Polk Canyon last Monday. More on those findings and what they say caused it. And former President Trump back in Florida after being charged with 34 felony counts of falsifying business records. He claims no wrongdoing, but some lawmakers say this indictment is serious.
Live from Utah's first TV station, ABC4 News celebrates 75 years.
Thanks for choosing ABC4 News at 10. I'm Glenn Mills. Emily Flores has the night off. Dozens of students, advocates, even state lawmakers at our state capitol demanding change. It's part of March for Our Lives, a student-led organization advocating for gun control and safer schools. Many in the organization saying enough is enough as we learn more about the shooter who killed 6 people at an elementary school in Tennessee. ABC4's Courtney Johns live on Utah's Capitol Hill tonight with more on the message they're sharing. Courtney.
A lot of people talking at the rally today brought up that tragic shooting in Nashville that killed 6 people, talking about what could have been done to prevent it. And while critics point out that that elementary school did not have an armed school resource officer, the people rallying today say the core of this problem is that we need these officers in the first place.
Our platform is really about nipping it at the bud, going to the root of the problem, which is the fact that these people are able to access guns when they shouldn't be able to in the first place.
Originally, the plan was for all of the March for Our Lives chapters to rally on Monday, 1 week. That would be the 1-week anniversary of the Nashville elementary school shooting. But because of the weather, the Utah chapter pushed it back to today. Advocating for gun control and safer schools, the organization says they're lobbying for mental health and background checks for potential gun owners. Dozens of students showed up to rally along with a handful of Democratic leaders, but there was no Republican leadership, something Senator Nate Bluin calls disappointing.
It suggests to me that there just isn't as much of a willingness to hear the concerns and address the issue in a serious and urgent way, like the problem that we need to fix.
Bluin says this has become a partisan issue when it shouldn't be, adding that the #1 killer for children in the U.S. is gun violence. Reporting live in Salt Lake City, Courtney Johns, ABC4 News.
Thank you, Courtney. We will be continuing this conversation Sunday morning on Inside Utah Politics. Our panel weighs in on what is being done and what still needs to happen to keep kids safe at school. The show begins at 8 a.m. Developing news tonight on Bryan Kohberger, the man accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students back in November. Kohberger now being investigated for additional murders in Pennsylvania. Former CIA and FBI agent Tracy Walder saying similar crimes with similar patterns are now being looked into in that area. And having his DNA is a big asset to those investigations. Now, as for the Idaho case, senior News Nation correspondent Brian Enton reporting there could be a delay in tearing down the house where the murders happened if the prosecution or defense teams object to the demolition. We'll keep you updated as more of this unfolds here on air and online, abc4.com. New at 10, a road rage incident ending in a shooting in Salt Lake City, sending 1 person to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. That shooting happening around 7 p.m. at 1967 South 300 West, temporarily closing 300 West from 19th South to 21st South. Police canvassing the area and asking the public for any information. Taking a look now at Stein Eriksen Lodge in Deer Valley, a break from the massive storm we had over the last few days. A nicer, sunny day out today, but still on the cool side. Is this a glimpse of what's to come? To answer that, we turn to Chief Meteorologist Alana Brophy, standing by in the Pinpoint Weather Center tonight. Alana.
Glenn, you're so polite. You called it cool. I was freezing out there today. And
comparatively speaking, it was not so bad.
Yeah, because the sun was out. And we've missed that sunshine, but that exiting storm system now clearing out of the region. But boy, did it deliver a snowy punch. Look at some of these totals, final storm totals in, with Snowbird picking up more than 5.5 feet of snow since April started. Yep, these storm totals coming in Saturday night, 63 inches at Alta. Canyon's getting 49 inches. inches. Snow Basin, 47, 45 at Powder Mountain. Huge numbers. It's late season, heavy, wet snow, and it piled up. 42 inches at Cherry Peak. Now, you saw the areas that are favored by that northwesterly flow. Southerly flow favors places like Brighton, but they still almost picked up 3 feet. More than 2 at Solitude, Deer Valley, and Bryan Head also getting snow. Avalanche warning still in effect. It was extended today and will hold on until 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. But even when the warning expires, the threat, it sticks around, especially with warming temperatures in the forecast. A lot of snow in a short period of time, ready to slide. So that's something we have to be aware of. Gorgeous shot, though, of Mount Ogden tonight. Thank you, Keith, for sending it our way. The sun on the mountains, we saw clear skies with that high pressure. Was also the case in southern Utah. Gerard catching the moonrise tonight with the Red Rock. Absolutely stunning down there in southern Utah. But temperatures, well, they're cold. We're running about 20 degrees below normal. We watched as those showers tapered off to the east. High pressure now setting up, and that's going to clear out conditions. We get sinking air with this high pressure and a quieter weather pattern, so we're going to dry out here for the next little while. 34 right now in Salt Lake, 20s in Logan. It's freezing. It was cold throughout the day. Temperatures really spending a bulk of the day in Salt Lake in the 30s. We see 20s on the west desert side of things down towards Cedar City, 27 in Blanding, 45 in St. George. Now, temperatures, they're going to turn things around. Yeah, we get a trend here as we get through the next several days. We are going to warm up. We're going to look at valley totals and how long the warm up continues coming up in my full forecast in just a few moments. Glenn, back to you.
Lana, thank you. An update tonight on a fatal avalanche in Polk Canyon last Monday. The Utah Avalanche Center releasing a report on its findings. 2 brothers, Ryan and Brett Warner, out on a familiar ride with 4 friends on snowmobiles in Ophir Canyon on the east side of the Oquirrh Mountains. Now, during the ride, Ryan noticing an old avalanche appearing to have happened several days before. Now, in the past, they'd used other ways to get into Polk Canyon. However, this time, they thought the snow had stabilized. As they descended the bowl, noticing a massive powder cloud barreling towards them, ultimately burying and killing Brett. Mark Staples with the UAC explaining the conditions of the area following the tragedy.
Bottom line, it's made of thin snowpack. That thin snow exposed to cold temperatures created these very obvious loose facets. That's what the avalanche failed on. You wouldn't have known that looking up here because it would have been all snow covered, but shallow snow is weak snow.
Utah Avalanche Center continuing to say they are deeply saddened by the loss and that they hope the report can help others stay safe in the mountain by learning from it. To see the full report, you can visit the website right there on your screen. April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and today Utah lawmakers and advocates kicking off the month with Start by Believing Day. Representative Angela Romero is behind the Start by Believing Utah resolution. She introduced it back in 2015, and now the day is recognized around the world. A doctor at BYU whose research focuses on sexual violence speaking, and she says Utah needs to create a culture of supporting and believing victims. Also sharing some of her research findings about fake reports of sexual assault.
We know that false reporting is about 2 to 8%. Which is the same as other crimes. I want to repeat that. It's the same as other crimes.
She says the best way anyone can start creating a culture of believing victims of sexual assault is to start with your own friends and family. You can also take the pledge online to believe victims by visiting the website right there at the bottom of the screen. Governor Spencer Cox and Utah's First Lady Abby Cox recognizing student winners for a Martin Luther King essay and art contest. The students' work sharing themes consistent with the teachings of Dr. King, like removing biases and stereotypes. They shared stories of times they have judged others or times they extended empathy for people on the other side. The First Lady speaking to the students saying she's felt strong connections with others when following King's values.
When I take the moment to get proximate, to listen to their story, to listen to their struggles, I find so much common ground. And that's what Dr. King preached.
The chair of the Martin Luther King Jr. Human Rights Commission saying these students are carrying on his legacy. And on top of that honor, all of them taking home new Chromebooks as well. Coming up, a meeting with Taiwan's president in the U.S. today. We'll have more from Washington on how this could affect our already strained relationship with China. And former President Trump now a criminal defendant. More on the fallout following Trump's indictment and arraignment when we come back.
And lake effect made us wake up to some decent snow. That was the view from East Layton. And you know, in Salt Lake, it's only 5 days into the month, but it's the 8th snowiest April in the city. And we have other records that we've knocked down. We'll break them down and what to expect for the rest of your work week in Utah's most accurate forecast.